If you're willing to take part in a little self-experiment, just take a moment and think about a situation in which you normally would experience strong fear. So for example, think about a visit at the dentist, or maybe a big spider walking over your hand, or standing in front of a big crowd and having to give a speech. If you have a situation, then just jump into it, experience it from the first person view. So experience it through your own eyes, experience it through your body. And chances are now you really feel a little bit uncomfortable. The next step is to jump out of yourself and to observe yourself while you are doing it. So for example, now you're watching yourself from a good distance, how you are getting treated at a dentist, or you see yourself giving a speech. And maybe you realize that now it all feels much more comfortable. Maybe you realize that now the fear is gone. And actually there are really good studies and one big meta-analysis which could show that this kind of change of perspective is one of the best emotion regulation techniques one can do. And in fact, maybe it's even the best emotion regulation strategy. Also very good is cognitive reappraisal, which is at the core of cognitive behavior therapy or just cognitive therapy. And what is not really working, and sometimes is even making things worse, is to try to suppress the emotions. But the thing with changing the perspective is that sometimes, if you are in a fear-evoking situation, sometimes it can be very hard to step back and to try to watch yourself from the outside, because your mind is already very busy and it's really hard to start such a demanding cognitive strategy. Interestingly, it might be enough to just change your inner dialogue. So for example, just don't speak with yourself from a first-person perspective by saying, I am afraid, I am nervous, but all you have to do is to switch to saying you are nervous and you are afraid. And what scientists found, if you do so, you won't just be more relaxed, but also your inner dialogue will switch to a more positive tone. That's something they observed in several studies, that if you talk to yourself just like if you're talking to a friend, all of a sudden you begin to talk as friendly as you are talking to a friend. Because usually when we talk to ourselves, we are quite critical. But when we talk to a friend and he or she has a problem, we are more often than not very friendly. And if we start talking to ourselves the same way, indeed our inner monologue becomes more friendly as well. And not just that, we even begin to perform better. Probably because we have more distance and we feel less fearful, less caught in our head, and therefore we have more cognitive resources to be in the here and now and to do what we have to do. And this could be shown, for example, in a date situation and in a job interview situation. In both situations, when the participants were told beforehand that they should try to switch their inner monologue to the third person perspective or the second person perspective, they later on performed better in these social interactions. And what is also interesting is that sometimes our brain is not stupid. Sometimes people who are in very threatening situations use this strategy automatically. Take a look, for example, at Nobel Prize winner for peace, Malala Yousafzai, who was shot by a Taliban terrorist in her face, and the bullet entered her skull over her left eye. But because of a very fast and very good medical treatment, she was able to survive. When later she was invited to an American TV talk show and she was asked how on earth was she able to live with the threat of the Taliban who were searching for her and who were willing to kill her, she answered the following, and you will realize that she also talks with herself in the third person. I said to me, when he comes, the Taliban, what would you do, Malala? Then I said to me, if he comes, then Malala, just take a shoe and hit him. So maybe the next time when you have to cope with strong anxiety, you want to try this quite easy strategy and just switch your inner monologue from the first person to the second or third person. I really hope you found this episode helpful, and if you want, we will see you next time.